This is the Two Scrappy Chicks podcast, where life is messy, the stories are real, and we dare to talk about it anyway.
Hey, welcome back. The Valley. So, the end is almost near. This is season 3, episode 17. One more episode. Next week is the season finale. And it looks like it was recorded in October. But I thought I heard that the cameras went back up. And I don't know if it had to do with the little scandal with Jax. Jax is not on the show, but apparently he's dating a Lori who is his publicist, and it was Brittany's publicist, but Brittany fired her. And supposedly she's divorced too, and they were in Mexico canoodling and stuff. So yeah, who knows? We're really not fans of Jax, right? Team Brittany. All right, so it starts off, we see Tom and Kiana, and he has a little cake for her because it's her birthday. Next, we see Michelle doing an open house, and she's got an interested buyer, and this house is like a $7.5 million house. Next, we see Benji and Zach, and they're having, like I said, I can't tell if it's lunch or dinner, but we're going to go with lunch. And they're talking about Benji's visa situation and that he would like to save for a surrogate. And Zach says, well, if we get married, you can get your temporary visa on the green card. But the one thing, Benji won't marry Zach if Zach isn't sure on kids. Like Benji said it's not negotiable. And Zach is still on the fence if he wants kids and may need a year to think about it. And Benji's not so sure. Next, we go to Danny and Nia's house. And she had left a note she'd be coming home soon. And then here's Nia. She came home. And they were talking about the procedure. And Nia said that the judging, the Miss USA, she said she loved it. It was great to be around positive people. And it got her thinking that they don't have that, back home. And they're pretty much at the at the space in their life where they don't know who they can trust now. So then next we see Michelle. She comes over to Jesse's house, and he has the divorce papers that his lawyer wanted him to go over, that he approved. And Jesse did, and he signed it, and he gave it to Michelle. Here, you can give it to your lawyer. Because I guess now in California, it goes in front of a judge, and then he decides if it's, you know, good to go. So, not sure. Let's see. So was October. I would think that they're divorced by now, but you never know. It's California. Um, and Michelle was saying that they made a great couple, in the past. And Jesse said, their daughter that they had, she was made, you know, in a loving environment. And Jesse was saying, it's sad. It takes 2 seconds to get a marriage license, but it takes 2 years to get a freaking divorce. Um, I was fortunate with when I got divorced from the donor, filed in June, and it was done in August. And I was just like, oh, good. Because I feel bad for people who have to go through a divorce, and it's like taking years and years. It's so much time and money wasted on like something that could have been, the money could have went to a better cause. And it's good to see Jesse and Michelle so amicable about stuff, and and she had said, now we need to be friends, and Jesse said that they'll forever be, family because, they have Isabel. And it's just this end of the chapter. And you could see they both were getting teary-eyed. So then Jesse goes, well, Schwartzy gave me some champagne, to toast. Um, so let's toast to this new chapter. And so they did that. And then Jesse said that he has a container and it has all of his daughter's cards that she got for birthdays and stuff. It has all the cards when from him to Michelle and Michelle to him. So when she's old enough, she can read it one day. So I thought that was sweet. Jesse really has grown on me this season. He's not so douchey. Um so then Lala, Michelle, Tom, and Kiana go on this little lunch boat ride, and Tom asks Michelle, how do you feel, about getting the divorce? And that's when she said she's just waiting for the judge to approve it. And then she announces that she's going to go on a date in a couple of weeks with a client of hers. And his name is Max Amini. And apparently he's a comedian. I have never heard of him. But uh, a spoiler, like a real life spoiler. I don't know if I've mentioned it earlier in episodes, but supposedly Michelle is dating the rapper. Oh my gosh. Now why can't I think of him? Um, oh my gosh. It's not ah, all right. When I think of it, I will say it. Um, hmm. Dr. Dre. So I guess it didn't work out with Max, and now supposedly Dr. Dre. So we'll see if that's still a thing. And if it's, well, I still haven't heard if the Valley's being picked up yet. Hopefully it is. Like I said, we got one more episode, and then I think 2 episodes of a reunion. Um, so anyway, Schwartzy talks about how a few of the rest of the group is being very dismissive to Janet, and he uh, doesn't understand it, and he told Lala um, that Kristen was one of them, and Lala was upset, and she said, I'm going to talk to Kristen by myself about this. So then we're back to Luke and Kristen, and they're in therapy. Um, Kristen feels Luke doesn't want to be around her and Kaya and be a part of it. Luke says he feels lonely. Kristen feels like he doesn't care and doesn't want to do anything with them. And um and then she mentions what he said in Mexico, and Luke said that he said it in frustration, and that he hadn't seen pregnant Kristen because she asked, you did ask me to marry you. And that's when he said, well, I didn't see pregnant Kristen. And he said he's been depressed. And he apologized. And, with the therapist, she pretty much led them to where they need to be to repair this. Um, and Kristen and Luke, I guess, talked about having another child, but Kristen's saying, uh-uh, I need to fix, me, because, it was she went from being pregnant, and then they lost it, and then they got pregnant again, and then, the pregnancy and then the postpartum. So yeah, that's a lot. I mean, look at Danny and Nia in the 4 under 4. So, I have hope for them. Because Kristen's an OG from Vanderpump. Luke is new to the gang. Well, fairly. It's been a couple of years, but he's from Colorado. And you could tell he's homesick. And he has made friends with the guys, so I mean that's good. So now we see Brittany's house, and she's playing with Cruz, and she said that she really has seen a change in the last year since she was able to move back in the house, because she kept having to move to different Airbnbs, which I didn't understand that. If she had Cruz more than Jax, why was she freaking moving around? And she feels Cruz, he's improved and he feels safe there. So Janet comes over, and they're talking about Brittany's party, because Brittany said it's going to be a Victorian vampire masquerade. And then Janet comes up with an idea. Let's have a little lunch, but I'm not inviting Nia and Kristen. So she calls Lala, and Lala says, yeah, I'll come. And of course, that's when Janet says, oh, I'm not inviting Nia and Kristen. And Lala's like, well, I'm a little upset with Kristen, but she wasn't going to say why, because it was about Janet. So then the girls are wondering, well, what the heck's going on, with her and Kristen. So then we have Zach, Michelle, Lala, Jasmine, Brittany, and Melissa and Lacey show up. They were late. And they go to Chili's, which was interesting. And Janet was saying, I love a chain. I'm from Ohio. I love a chain restaurant. And I guess Janet said she spent $600 a month on McDonald's breakfast when she was pregnant. I cannot imagine that, because I mean, she had to probably get the big breakfast and the coffee and whatnot. Like, I don't know, spend almost like an average of $20 a day on McDonald's. I don't know. That wouldn't have been my first choice for cravings. So Jasmine asked everybody if everyone got along at the party, did she miss anything? And she's like, no, it was fine. And I guess did Lacey said something. Did Lacey say, that her and Janet kind of made up? So uh next, Brittany is talking about her party, and she said this will be since everyone's been together since Mexico. And Zach said that, yeah, I picked up Danny from when he got his vasectomy, and that he said he's slowly seeing from Danny, that he's trying. And then Janet has to pipe in. It's hard to give him grace. And Janet realized she made a mistake last year and has apologized, and she has not gotten grace. And Zach's like, okay, I thought we moved on past from this. And then Michelle pipes in, well, Danny needs to apologize and never do anything like that again. And then Brittany calls out Zach, how he has treated her and Janet, you know, and Brittany's like known Zach for 18 years, from Kentucky. And she's just like, this is not the same person I knew. So not Jax, Zach gets up to go pee. And he was, when they switched to the filming and then to the interview. And in the interview, Zach is saying that when he went to pee, apparently he had to go number two, and he said, needless to say, he had to throw out his underwear. And then when he came back to the table, they noticed, well, you were gone long. And then they start asking him if he was pooping. And he's like, yeah. And they're like, oh, you pooped in Chili's? And, back to Brittany, she said that she's been, trying to smooth things over, and that, especially with Zach and the whole Janet thing. And, so yeah, that's where that lunch ended. And then Brittany was doing a photo shoot because she wanted to take a photo shoot since she had her mommy makeover. And she invited both Kristen and Lala to join her. And the pictures were really, really good. She had some nice outfits. And so then Brittany's talking to Kristen about Janet. And just Kristen doesn't she goes, I'm not interested in her in my life. And they're trying to figure out, well, if other people can make up with her. And then they mention Lacey's name, and Kristen says, really? She's like, Lacey was was on the phone with me until she walked in, stressing out, having a meltdown, that she had to see Janet. So I wonder if that's going to be brought up. That's really interesting to hear. And Lala and Brittany are confused about, with Zach. And then again, Kristen said Zach talks bad about Janet 24/7. And Kristen told Zach, if you want to be friends with her, it's okay. I don't care. But then Kristen makes the mistake to say it's Nia that guilt tripped Zach to be friends with Janet. So then, yeah, Brittany and Lala were running with that. And Lala makes a comment that Nia's hands are clean while Kristen's are dirty. And so Zach needs to figure out if he's going to be friends with Janet or not. And Lala was saying, oh, the other friends are going to be so happy. Kristen's throwing them under the bus. And so that was that with Brittany's photo shoot. So at the end, Lala comes over to Kristen's house because she wants to talk to her about what she heard when she went out with Schwartzy and the rest of them on the boat. And, and she said to Kristen, I'm not going to tell you the story. It's not my story. It's Janet's story to tell you if you want to hear it, And, Kristen's like, I can feel for her. But it has nothing to do with why she doesn't want to be friends with her, and that Kristen doesn't trust her, and she's tired of, because she doesn't want to be friends with her. She's tired of it being shoved down her throat. and she just doesn't want to be friends, but at least, has some compassion, for what she went through. But in the episode, I don't know, I'm trying to think who was she talking to. Um, but she found it interesting that, she was friends with Janet Pryor and never heard about this. So I don't know if Kristen is questioning Janet, if she's even telling the truth or is she just making this up. Um, who knows? Uh, but I know if I was doing a reality show and it was me and my friends, we'd probably be boring because we don't do this drama crap. So, so yeah, one more episode and then the reunions or two-part reunion. So this should be interesting. But I think I heard if there's a fourth season, I don't think Danny and Nia, excuse me, I don't think they're coming back, and I don't blame them because I think they've been through enough, and um I mean, I would hope if they don't, I would hope the whole Danny and Nia thing stays out of, you know, everybody's mouth, because I don't think that's right to be still carrying this on for another season, you know? So, yeah, I guess we'll see what happens at the reunion or the last episode. Hopefully it's a good one, a good ending. All right. Till, well, I don't know. Let's see, what's today? Um, two more shows. I think was Big Brother on tonight? I think it was. But I may wait till the weekend or Sunday to do the Big Brother and do 3 episodes. So, yeah, it's a lot, you know, doing shows because I have to pause and then take notes and because I may have somewhat of photographic memory, but doing all these shows, if I was doing one show, I could easily do it without notes. But the fact that I'm doing several, I need notes so I'm not getting stuff confused. All right, till next time. We really appreciate you hanging out with the two scrappy chicks today. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, download, and share it with a friend. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, just let us know.